Camila turned 31. She lives in sunny San Diego, nestled along the Pacific coast. Her weekdays are spent working as a florist in a small flower shop located not far from the beach. Camila's life flows at a measured and calm pace. Every morning, she opens the shop doors, filling the space with the aromas of fresh flowers. She creates exquisite bouquets, embodying the beauty of nature, and helps customers choose the perfect gift for any occasion. In the evenings, Camila returns to her cozy yet modest apartment, where over a cup of fragrant tea, she immerses herself in reading books or enjoys quiet strolls along the seashore, listening to the sound of the waves. Camila has a close friend named Emma who lives nearby. They often meet, share news, and reflect on life's twists and turns. Camila wasn't looking for new romantic relationships. After several unsuccessful romances, she decided to dedicate herself to solitude, to heal emotional wounds, and find inner peace. However, as is often said, love frequently arrives unexpectedly when you least anticipate it. This is precisely what happened to Camila when Robert entered her life. He walked into the flower shop one Monday. Robert needed a bouquet to decorate his office. He was polite and calm, and his eyes radiated softness and warmth. Robert's smile was inviting. He attentively asked Camila about the flowers, inquiring about their freshness and characteristics. He listened to her with genuine interest, unhurriedly, unlike most visitors who were always rushing about their business. Before leaving, Robert smiled warmly and said, "Thank you, Camila. You made my day better." The following week, he reappeared at the shop. This time, Robert was choosing flowers for his daughter's school play. A relaxed conversation developed between them. He asked if Camila enjoyed her work with flowers, and she answered affirmatively. Robert also inquired if she had grown up in San Diego, which Camila confirmed. She found it pleasant that he asked questions and showed genuine interest in her answers. After that, Robert became a frequent visitor to the flower shop, dropping by once or twice a week. Their communication grew increasingly open and trusting. Robert told Camila about his job in a small downtown office, admitting that his life was busy but also a little lonely. Camila, in turn, shared stories about her flower shop and her friend Emma. Sometimes they laughed together, finding joy in simple and casual conversations. Over time, Robert began to linger in the shop longer and longer. One evening, he arrived just before closing and offered to help Camila with some boxes. He stayed nearby while she mopped the floor. Camila brewed some tea and they settled in the back room. In the warm and quiet atmosphere, Robert confessed, "This place feels like home to me." Camila smiled, unsure how to respond. But within her, a new feeling stirred, as if a small flame had ignited in her chest. Camila began to eagerly await Robert's visits. He showed her kindness and attention, remembered her favorite flowers, brought her coffee on cold days, and joked when she felt tired. One day, he even helped her when her car wouldn't start. With Robert, Camila felt safe and comfortable. She started to develop tender feelings for him. Perhaps she was falling in love with him, despite her intentions. 2 months later, Robert invited Camila to dinner. They met at a small restaurant by the ocean. The evening passed in a pleasant and relaxed atmosphere. They talked for hours, and Camila felt happier than she had in a long time. At the end of the evening, Robert walked her to her car and briefly took her hand. This touch filled Camila's heart with warmth. They started seeing each other more often, sometimes after work, sometimes on weekends. Their relationship remained a secret, like a quiet treasure they carefully guarded. Camila didn't mind. She enjoyed the time spent with Robert. Their relationship was sincere and tender, like a beautiful dream that she didn't want to end. But one day, everything changed. On a Saturday afternoon, Camila was helping Robert wash his car when his phone rang. He stepped aside to answer the call. Camila didn't mean to pry, but the phone screen lit up and she saw the words, "Call from Laura, wife." Camila's heart clenched with pain. She froze, a chill running through her. Wife. She hadn't known Robert was married. When he returned, Camila said nothing, waiting for him to tell her the truth himself. That evening, they sat on a bench by the sea, admiring the pink sunset. Camila looked at Robert and asked directly, "Are you married?" He lowered his eyes and didn't answer immediately. Then he quietly said, "Yes, I am." The world around Camila seemed to stop. She heard the sound of the waves, but everything else felt silent. A sharp pain settled in her chest. "I didn't want to lie to you," Robert said. "But I didn't know how to tell you. There's no love in my marriage. We live in the same house, but it's not a life. I'm staying for the children. They're still young." Camila didn't know what to say. She stood up and walked away from him. Her heart pounded and she wanted to cry. That night, she couldn't sleep, her mind filled with questions. Why hadn't he told her the truth? Was anything in their relationship real? She remembered his smile, his kindness, his words. Camila felt angry, but at the same time, she missed him. She was confused. The next morning, Robert sent her a message. "Sorry, I miss you." Camila didn't reply. That day, Emma visited, and Camila told her everything that had happened. Emma listened sadly and took her hand. "You need to think about yourself," she said. "You need to ask yourself if this is really what you want." For several days, Camila didn't see Robert, but she thought of him constantly. She cried alone, looked at her phone, and waited for his call. A week later, he reappeared at the flower shop. "I still care about you," Robert said. "I know it's wrong, but I don't want to lose you." They talked for a long time. Camila admitted that she was hurt and felt deceived. Robert didn't argue and said, "I understand." And then Camila made her choice. She decided to stay with him. She made the decision to stay. Anticipating potential criticism, she understood that her choice might seem wrong, that leaving would have been the more sensible decision. Perhaps from an outsider's perspective, it was. But at that moment, she was driven by an unwavering belief in him, in his promises to leave his wife. Deep down, a glimmer of hope flickered that she would become not just a fleeting infatuation for him, but the one he would ultimately choose. Their meetings resumed, shrouded in a veil of secrecy. Robert visited her modest abode no more than once or twice a month, his visits brief. They didn't allow themselves to go out together, avoiding any photographs that could expose their secret. She kept silent. Only Emma was privy to her secret. Her friend offered no judgment, but a look of concern was visible in her eyes. Initially, she was enveloped in happiness. Robert showered her with flowers, cooked exquisite dinners, and their evenings were filled with laughter and movie watching. She convinced herself that love was enough, that the waiting was worthwhile. But over time, the colors faded. The anticipation became burdensome, and her smile felt forced. She spent evenings alone while he returned to the bosom of his family. Forgetting her former hobbies, she stopped reading. Walks along the sea no longer brought joy. She was losing herself, the person she was before meeting him. Days stretched into weeks. Robert visited her less and less frequently, sometimes once a week or even less. In his presence, she found happiness again. He brought her favorite treats, played soft music, gently kissed her forehead, and showered her with compliments. But after he left, a stifling silence descended, and a heavy weight settled on her heart. He avoided conversations about his wife, but she knew he continued to live with her, and they had 2 young children. Sometimes he showed her photos where they appeared happy. This evoked conflicting feelings in her. On one hand, she wanted to be kind, but on the other, she felt forgotten, excluded from their world, merely a secret. She tried not to ask too many questions, fearing to upset him, and continued to wait, hoping that one day he would leave his wife and choose her. But her certainty dwindled with each passing day. He repeated the same refrain. "Now is not the time. The children are still young. She's unwell." He always had excuses, but never a concrete plan. Exhaustion consumed her. Every morning began with the expectation of his message. She declined other invitations so as not to miss his visit. Her life narrowed to the confines of his presence. She stopped meeting Emma. Their weekend walks were a thing of the past. Her friend noticed her state and asked if she was okay, but she always replied affirmatively. though it was far from the truth. She missed her former self, her laughter, her freedom. Now her existence revolved around waiting for his messages, visits, his love. One evening, sitting alone, she noticed the flowers on the table, a gift from him. Touching the petals, she felt they were dry. She had forgotten to water them, forgotten to care for them, just as she had forgotten about herself. Her gaze fell on her phone. There were no messages. She wanted to text him to say she missed him, but she held back. Instead, she put on her coat and went to the beach. The cold wind bit her face, the sky was dark, but the moon brightly illuminated everything around. She sat on a bench and listened to the sound of the waves, pondering love and hope, wondering if it was true love or merely an illusion. That night, she returned home and cried into her pillow, mourning her love for him and her lostness. She was in love, but felt alone. She had someone, but he was never entirely hers. The next morning, a message arrived. "I miss you. Can I see you tonight?" She agreed, as always. He came with a smile and a bottle of wine, hugged and kissed her, saying, "You're all I think about." But she didn't smile back. "Do you ever think about us?" she asked. He looked confused. "What do you mean?" "I mean, what is this? Who am I to you?" He sat down and was silent, then said, "You're important to me, Camilla. You know that." "But I'm just a secret?" she asked, and he looked down. "It's not easy. I have children. They need me." Tears welled in her eyes. She tried not to cry. "I know," she said, "but I also need someone who chooses me." He took her hand and pleaded, "Please don't leave me. I love you." She looked at him, wanting to believe him, wanting his words to be true. Perhaps they were, but love isn't just words. It's actions. It's truth. It's light, not shadow. That night, she didn't sleep a wink. In the morning, she went to the flower shop early, opened the door, turned on the lights, and sat behind the counter, looking at the colorful flowers surrounding her, while inside, she felt gray. Later that day, Emma visited, bringing coffee and a pastry. "You look tired," she observed. "I am tired," Camilla replied. They retreated to the back room, and she told her friend everything she felt. "I think I'm losing myself," she confessed. "I don't laugh, I don't smile, I don't feel like myself." Emma looked at her with sympathy. "I'm your friend, Camilla, and I won't tell you what to do, but I want to ask you, do you feel loved, safe, needed?" She didn't answer. Only tears streamed down her cheeks. "Love shouldn't be like this," Emma said. "Love should make you more alive, not less." Camilla understood her friend was right, but she also realized how hard it would be to change everything. She had given Robert a piece of her heart, and she didn't want to lose him. But even more, she didn't want to lose herself. The protagonist was going through a difficult period, striving to rediscover herself. That evening, she ignored a message from him, and then another, full of concern. "Is everything okay?" Not answering the call, she immersed herself in 3 days of silence. Days passed in familiar activities, work, walks along the coast, tea, and attempts to relax. On the 4th day, he appeared at the shop, exhausted, with disheveled hair and sad eyes. "Camilla, please, talk to me," he pleaded. She looked at him, torn between the desire to rush into his arms and the need to remain still. "I need time," she said, "to think everything over." His question came with anxiety. "Think what over? Us? Me?" "What I truly want," she replied. "Don't do this," he begged. "We have something special." "I know," she agreed. "But I'm always waiting, always second best, and I don't want that anymore." Resentment was visible in his gaze. "I love you," he said. "I believe you," she replied. "But now that's not enough." He tried to take her hand, but she stepped back. "I need my space," she requested. "Please understand." He didn't argue or raise his voice, just looked into her eyes for a long time, then left the shop. As soon as the door closed, she sank to the floor and let the tears flow, not from weakness, but from the strength it took to say what needed to be said. That evening, she poured her soul into a notebook, writing about love, pain, and hope. The future remained uncertain, but one thing she knew for sure: she intended to take back her life. After Robert left the shop, she remained alone for a long time. The lights were still on, the flowers seemed delicate and bright, but she felt drained. That day, she decided to take a break, informing her boss of her need for a vacation. Her boss understood. Packing a small bag, she boarded a train, heading to her aunt's house in Santa Barbara. During the journey, watching the coastal landscapes, waves, and soaring birds outside the window, she felt calm for the first time in a long while. Her aunt lived in a small house at the foot of the hills. She offered her tea, made soup, and avoided difficult questions, simply being present. Nights were spent in quiet, dreamless sleep, and days in reading books and walking in the sun. One day, sitting on a garden bench, she saw a young couple passing by, holding hands and smiling at each other. A slight pang in her heart. She also wanted love, but a real one, without secrets or being a second choice. Returning to San Diego, she felt a surge of strength. Cleaning her apartment, opening the windows, and buying fresh flowers, she sat in the sun with her diary, rereading old entries. She saw how unhappy she had been, how much she had given, and how little she had received in return. The truth became clearer. Robert continued to send messages, "I miss you," or "Can we talk?" She didn't reply, didn't block him, but also didn't engage in correspondence, needing solitude and the opportunity to rediscover herself. Emma was happy about her return, giving her a tight hug when they met. "You look better," she noticed. "I feel better," the protagonist replied. Over coffee, they discussed simple things, and laughter once again filled their conversation. She had missed her friend and these moments of joy. A few weeks later, passing by a bookstore near the beach, she noticed an announcement for a literary group. Interested, she went inside and joined the meeting on Tuesday. In a warm and friendly atmosphere, participants shared their short stories. She listened more than she spoke, but she liked this new activity, which gave her a sense of grounding. It was there that she met Adam. He was tall and reserved, wrote about nature and travel, spoke softly, and always looked people in the eye. After one of the meetings, he walked her to a cafe. "You have a soft voice," he said, "but your words have strength." She smiled in response. After each meeting, they exchanged a few friendly phrases, and she felt calm in his company. He never asked unnecessary questions or rushed things. One evening, they lingered after the meeting and walked along the sea. Under the dark sky, dotted with bright stars, she shared a part of her past with him. "I was with someone who couldn't choose me, and that made me feel insignificant." He didn't express surprise, but simply nodded. "I'm sorry," he said. "No one should have to feel that way." That night, she returned home without shedding a single tear, not missing Robert and not expecting messages, but simply feeling at peace. Adam and she continued to meet, unhurriedly, without pressure or secrets. They walked, talked. He brought her tea when she felt unwell, helped fix a broken chair, and made her laugh, allowing her to be herself. One Saturday, he waited for her outside the flower shop after work, and they went to the park together. "Would you like to have dinner with me tonight?" he asked. She agreed. Dinner was simple: pasta cooked at her place, conversations about books, and soft music. As they said goodbye, he said, "You're special, Camila. I'm happy I met you." His words resonated in her heart with lightness and kindness. However, time relentlessly moved forward, and weeks turned into months. Robert's name appeared less and less on her phone screen, and messages eventually stopped altogether. He probably realized that further words were unnecessary, that the time for closure had come. One Sunday morning, while cleaning her closet, she accidentally stumbled upon an old photograph. The picture showed her and Robert captured during a secret meeting. Her gaze lingered on the image for only a moment before the photograph went into the trash. No tears came, a feeling of readiness to let go of the past settled in her heart. Later that day, she walked along the beach with Adam. They sat on a bench, admiring the sea horizon. "Do you still think about him?" Adam asked gently. "Sometimes," she replied, "but without the old pain." "That's good," he responded. She looked at him and said, "With you, I feel safe." A smile appeared on Adam's face and he said, "That's all I want." The words faded and they simply sat together, enjoying the silence and the feeling of sincerity and authenticity of the moment. Looking back, she felt no hatred for Robert. It seemed to her that he was as lost as she had been. But this experience taught her an important lesson. Love cannot be real if it's hidden from plain sight. Love cannot be kind if it causes pain. Love cannot be true if it only exists in the shadows. True love offers a sense of security, grants freedom, and allows one to grow and develop. Now she wakes up with a feeling of peace. She goes to work with harmony in her heart. She meets Emma for coffee. She writes in her diary. She spends time with Adam. She smiles and laughs more often. She no longer languishes in waiting, but lives life to the fullest. And if someone were to ask her today, was it worth it? She would reply, yes. Because by going through the pain, she rediscovered herself. And that is the greatest love of all.